Blammo. Cleaning Simulator. Egg Hunt 2019. Platformers. Maps, I guess. What do they all combine into? Robot 64. Robot 64 is arguably Zeke Heaven's magnum opus, as well as a game that's been on my mind now for a long time, with me mentioning it in at least like one other video of mine. Robot 64 follows the story of Beebo, a robot who's been set on a mission to collect ice creams to destroy the sun, with Robot 64 turning 7 years old last October, which is also the same age as Scooby-Doo in canon. I thought now would be the perfect time to rank all the worlds, as the game is at its most relevant, of course. Also, just a heads up, I'm not going to include the Eggy map or the test world, as I don't have much to say on either of them, and neither of them give you ice creams that, contribute in the game. With that being said, I may be a little late to this party, but I still have some I still have some opinions I need to share. This one is so low for me because the name makes it sound so cool, but when you get inside the world, it's like the most confusing aesthetic ever. I get what they were trying to do with the mid-2010s retrowave appearance, but this is so not it. Like, the gradient at the buildings with these blue neon squares. Wow. Someone was not cooking in that kitchen. What I'm trying to say is that the look this world has makes it feel unfinished, as a lot of the textures used especially for the buildings just look like plastic, and the only interesting focal point that grabs your attention is the lighthouse, which is reused from the first world! Not to mention, this keyboard literally has no importance, despite really looking like it should. A lot of the ice creams you can find here get jumbled up in my mind, as I've literally gotten lost in this city of 15 buildings trying to figure out where to find the next collectible, which, now that I'm saying it out loud, is kind of embarrassing, and probably speaks more about me than this map, but I'm still gonna blame this map. I will say, I do really like the race between you and the rabbit in this world, as they move the fastest here, and you have to use the jetpack to get to the flag before them, which I find a bit silly and fun. But despite that one good objective, most of the others are just boring, with two being basically, get to this area suspended above the ground. Overall, this is a world that's most enjoyable qualities all come from the maps before it. And the singular thing it does add is taking away your double jump in its subworld, which is the most annoying thing ever, as not only does it take away your double jump, but also half of the movement options. Awesome! Buzz Factory is one of the 2 Robux exclusive worlds in the game, which means naturally it's going to be a smaller map compared to all the others. This lack in scale really hinders the potential this world had. Not to mention, it's kind of a bit ugly. The overwhelming amount of yellow and orange here frankly makes me feel a little bit afraid. This is also the only world I can think of where the map feels linear instead of open, as the map only goes upwards, and by following the rough path that this map gives you for the most part, you'll just naturally get all the ice creams without having to really deviate from the path for much long. The only exception to this rule is the unique way that this map uses the Firefly jar. This time, the jar holds honey, and you'll have to find 3 pieces of honey around the map and loop back to this machine. It's actually a really good objective, and it's the only thing that makes this map not just feel like a straight line upwards. Buzz Factory just has very little going for it, and it being 1/2 of the 250 Robux Game Pass isn't the best sign, all things considered. But what the world lacks in style, gameplay, and ice creams, it does make up for by having the best hostile NPCs. How can you hate these little guys? The bees single-handedly make this world for me, as they do so much world building. More than probably necessary. They really do make you feel like you're intruding in very yeah. Even if the area you're intruding in hurts your eyes when looking at it for more than 5 minutes straight. Anyways, I think I need a screen time break. I feel bad for putting this one so low because it has the coolest subworld and also a really unique boss fight, but it's also just like a wee bit too intense for me. Like, lava and skateboarding, it's trying too hard. This is a world that has a boss fight though, and not gonna lie, it does not disappoint. I really like the witty banter between the Hecklord and Beebo, and I think the use of the skateboard is really well integrated into not only this fight, but also the world. Even if the skateboard is like arguably my least favorite power-up out of the three. Darn it! Now I gotta rank them. Skateboard's D tier. Flamethrowers C tier. No, B tier. Jetpack is A. My videos are S, of course. Like and subscribe! Other than the boss fight, my favorite part of this world is the dark hallway subworld. Oh my god, the atmosphere around here creeps me out, and when I first played this game, being jumpscared by this damn school bus created a core memory for me. Despite my praise of the unique parts of this world, the main reason that I put this world so low is how small and how empty the actual heck lands are. Like, this map is incredibly small and feels so empty compared to every other world. Nothing is really that visually engaging apart from the lava replacing the water aesthetically, and it's actually kinda sad to see how underutilized the main idea of this world is, as I feel if there was a little bit more to do in this area, it would drastically change how I feel about this map. But hey, at least the boss fight is cool. There's not really too much to say about the hub, but it's pretty good. No, just kidding. I think the hub world is fine. It's not really too unique visually apart from the observatory, which like serves as a place that connects most of the main worlds, and I like that there's like a vague star theme going on with the observatory, which, you know, makes sense as it's like an observatory, like you observe the stars, and there, and like the side quest ice creams found here are like fun challenges that add more objectives to the game, and I like the slide. The slide's cool. But apart from that, it's like fine. It's fine, you know? The trees look cool. I guess. There's just not really a whole lot to do. It's like, it's the hub. No, it's cool, but there's not really anything to talk about. It's just like kind of, it's like where you start. It's kind of there. It's cool. It's fun. There's a shop. Thanks for watching. Candy Aquarium is really cool. Just in the way that it's the only map that's almost completely underwater makes it a unique playing experience compared to the other maps. I didn't say it was the most fun playing experience, but it sure is unique. I do really like how creative this world is, with everything being reminiscent of a regular underwater world, but it's all candy related somehow. Like, with Mentos that you can use to destroy these boxes, or the water we swim in is grape soda, which is kinda terrifying if you've seen that video. My absolute favorite thing about this map is how much more of the world you can explore, as it opens up so many more areas to be explored rather than just staying on the floor. My least favorite thing about this map is the floor. There are so many little bumps and divots that it makes it feel too much like flesh, and whenever you have to go into a cave or just go down, it messes with my brain. Also, the continuation of bullying this little guy from the Hecklands feels so mean for the second time. The main reason this world is still on the bottom half for me is because even though it's a very unique premise, I personally think it's also the most annoying map to move in, as the swimming physics don't really feel as refined and polished as the walking physics, and it also takes away all your jumps and dashes, as the movement is one of the best things in this game. It makes it feel a lot more bland when you take it away. A lot of the ice cream objectives here also aren't bad, but aren't necessarily my favorite. Especially the one where you have to jump from the only above water part, which can be really annoying, as if you fail the jump you have to reclimb the tower and try again, which can be really tedious if you're like me and have difficulty jumping, apparently. These factors all contribute to a distinctive but monotonous world that has its ups and downs, but hey, it's still pretty, and I like the purple water, so win some, lose some. Okay, this subjective sneak has gone on long enough. Yes, I know this map also costs 250 Robux to play. Yes, I know I'm biased as I love snow maps. I'm typically a fan of the snowy aesthetic, so this hits all the marks for me. And yes, I know I've run out of comparisons to make. But this world is just so much fun to play through. While it's, for the most part, also structured in a more linear way like Buzz Factory, this world gets its own exclusive power-up, the Flamethrower. This can unlock hats and ice creams you see that are covered in ice, and it's just so fun to play around with them. Also, there's a little Easter egg where if you connect two snowballs, you can make a little snowman. Just look at this found footage. Not only is this map one of the most aesthetically pleasing maps for me, but also one that features some pretty fun ice cream challenges, with the most notable one being the one that even the game jokes about being incredibly hard to get, which I've also seen a lot of people talk about how unfair it is, but to me, I think it's a good way to encourage exploration in the map. The biggest issue I have with this world is how it is an extra world. I feel like if this map was one of the main 7 that had 2 more ice creams like how those maps do, this would easily fall into the top 3 for me. But the fact that it's just extra content, while not sabotaging the world completely, does hinder it from being immaculate. It's good for the creators though, as it does incentivize people to get the Game Pass, which means the creators can continue making things and all that, but apart from the financial support, it's a little sad to see such a great world locked behind a paywall. This map is actually so cool. As a certified Poptropica Shrink Ray Ellen stan, this type of map is literally so interesting to me, especially how it can be used to manipulate everyday objects and view them in a new context, as we are someone too small to use them as they are intended. And unlike last time, the keyboard here actually does something! I do really love how the keyboard and computer are used here. Not to mention the crayons leaving a mark on the floor is a really cool detail. This room definitely falls a bit more into just personal preference for me, because even though it has some of the most interesting ice cream quests, I will say there is a bit of an imbalance in what's in the map. Like, one side, well, one corner actually has a lot more going on visually than the others. But what makes up for this is how different everything is. The little toy soldiers are so silly, and I really like the way they view this child mat as a war zone, and I love the creativity that this world supplies. As well as the bed being bouncy is really fun to mess around with. Something in this map that also falls a bit flat for me is the sub-levels as well. For one, they brought back the most annoying gimmick in the entire game. I hate it so much, it's so annoying. And then the other subworld is fine. I think it's fun, I just wish it also made you feel like a mini Beebo in a big world, just like the normal map does. But overall, this map is one of my favorites based on vibes alone. Although some aspects of the map aren't utilized the best, and the amount of existential dread I get when looking out the window for too long is incredibly palpable. I do really like a lot of the aspects in this world, such as that shrunken down feeling, and I'm glad that we got this map because I still love it, even if I did hate a bit. Also, yeah, this music eats so hard. This music is so good. Like, this is such a good track. Probably the best in the game. Rivaling Candy Burrito, dare I say. Yes, I'm counting this world. I know a lot of the objectives aren't unique to this map, but we're gonna separate these challenges from these worlds. Okay? Let's start off with the main area. I really like how the gravity is lower and how we're on the moon or star that we kept seeing in the sky. I think that that's really cool world building. Now, we're just gonna lightning round the 7 mini challenges as this world is kinda hard to talk about just by itself. Okay? Ready? Go! The Turtle Tops challenge is cute and charming, but nothing to really write home about, and it's really short and mainly focuses on moving platforms. 5 out of 10. Kanati's Resort challenge is really fun. I like the slide and the skateboarding parts. It feels really unique and provides a fun challenge that sums up what the resort is all about. 9 out of 10. The Hecklands challenge is probably my favorite, all things considered. I think it takes a dull vibe of the Hecklands and turns it into a high skate scenario where you have to use the trees to avoid falling into the lava while collecting the eggs. 10 out of 10. Candy Aquarium creates a fun and challenging puzzle that doesn't feel unfair and perfectly mixes the world's main use of water to create a unique path we'd have to fall in the sky, something that we haven't really seen much before in the game. 8 out of 10. New Neo City once again disappoints and takes away our double jump and dash for a puzzle that feels unfair and janky, especially when you have to swing by the power cables. 3 out of 10. Tiny Huge Bedroom is just a big slide. Have we seen this before? Yes, but did that stop me from enjoying it? No. 6 out of 10. And finally, the final home run is an action-packed final challenge that puts all the skills you've learned to test and really challenges you without feeling unfair. While I acknowledge that this is a great final challenge, it also prevented me from full completion of the game for 2 years. 8 out of 10. With all of that out of the way, the only thing left is the final boss. This is a really fun bullet hell kind of boss that changes up the style of the game completely, and really pushes that grand feeling of completing something with this incredible music and very unique change of visuals from everything coming before it. Overall, an amazing world with amazing challenges and an amazing ending. Turtle Tops may be the first official world, but it doesn't let that hold it back. For one, the map is so iconic, at least to me, with it being like the first world people think of when they hear the words Robot 64. Not to mention, it feels like the perfect size. While a lot of maps struggle with filling empty space and or are too large/small, this world's size feels perfect. It's lumpy and bumpy, and it's the back of a huge turtle, which is both really creative and makes the map feel more open, as well as making the world's borders make a lot more sense, rather than just having a box around everything. I really love all the little things this map has, with the Rabbit Village especially, as it sets the precedent for how unique and surreal this game is. Also, as someone who really loves collectathons, with Exhibit A being the 1 hour-long egg hunt video, the fact there's a firefly hunt and egg collection objective in one world does not go unnoticed. This world is such a great introduction to the game, with it being the first official world you enter, and it can almost feel like a continuation of the hub world, but this time with more things to do and a more visually engaging environment. Although I really like the main world, some of the subworlds are a little hit or miss for me. While I really like the underwater cave and airplane submaps as they both feel like natural continuations of the map, the soap jumps and lava side scroller feel a bit more out of place with the more calming nature the turtle tops has. Not to say that they are bad, but rather that they're a bit jarring to play after spending so much time in this, like, safer and calmer environment, and they don't really match the vibe. This is also the world where we see the first iteration of a series of questlines in Roblox 64, obviously, such as the egg collecting, firefly hunting, rabbit racing, and the soap worlds. Because that's a theme on its own, apparently. All things considered, this world's an amazing introduction to the game and what's to come. Wow, who could have expected this? The first 2 maps being the top 2 spots? That's crazy! Hamisweird is by far my favorite map in the entire game, with everything being done so perfectly. The way this world is split up into 2 distinct locations, both outside and inside the hotel, is so well done and really keeps everything visually engaging. Literally no other map does this. The outside part of the map feels like a more refined and realistic version of the turtle tops. I especially love how one of the objectives is to straight up drown the guards. I also really love the use of the skateboarding tool. I think it's done really well and gives use of the weird point system the skateboard has that is literally never used apart from this one objective. Now we get into the real meat of this map, the inside of Naughty's hotel. This is literally the only important building, other than the hub, that we can enter, and it's done really well. Every room is treated as its own ice cream quest, or part of an ice cream quest, and creates my favorite mix of both linear and open environments that keep you wondering what will be in the next room. I especially love how the maze room changes your perspective, and instead of limiting your ability to run on walls, it utilizes it so that you have to run on the walls to avoid the enemies below. Not to mention the cool cleaning simulator reference with Dr. Schmar teaching a turnip to clean. This is also the only other map to include a boss fight in its world, with the other, of course, being the Hecklands. And this boss fight's like, okay. It's a bit too easy to beat for the build-up it's given, and the fact that there are 6 extra batteries here means you can get hit 10 times if you come with full health before you get game overed. And I don't even think they throw 10 boards at you the entire boss fight. It's also crazy that you can straight up kill Knotty after this fight. Like, Jesus, this world contains a lot of zany murder. Apart from this lackluster boss fight, everything else this map has to offer is absolutely incredible, with it always bringing something new to the table even when you think you've seen it all, creating an experience that never gets old. Probably. To end things up, Roblox 64 is a really good game, it's really well made, it's innovative, and it expands those horizons for what Roblox games can be. Although I might have dissed and critiqued a good amount of the worlds, I still really loved playing through all of them, except for New Neo City, that one's so ugly, and had a great time. I've heard there's a sequel that's gonna be made, Robot 32, and I'm excited for that, but for now, I'm Hamish, this has been me yapping for 24 minutes, and good night.